Hey, what's up guys? Felix from Giant Lifestyle. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm sitting down with my buddy Jeff again. Jeff is the guy I've brought up my channel several times who is known to be the independent slash medical courier. He's down in Tampa. Before this video starts, we're going to be talking about how he makes $10,000 per month as an independent courier. Jeff and I have also wrote a book together. I'm going to leave that down in the description. Just so anybody knows, this is not a job application. This is not going to guarantee you get a courier job in your area, but it's going to tell you what you need to know, what you need to do, what you need to look out for, and where to actually go to find a job as a medical courier. As you can see, I had someone text me off my YouTube channel. He said, "Hey, what's up, man? Thanks again. Your video with Jeff really got me going and changed my life. Really great income." And he said, every week is different, but the average for the last 3 months is around $1,300 pre-tax. So I said, is that $1,300 per week? And he said, yes, definitely. Now I know there's different expenses like tolls and gas, but as you can see, if you look right here, he said $1,300 per week. So shout out to this guy, really incredible. And it's really awesome, Jeff, to see what kind of impact we're making with the videos where we discuss the independent carrier or courier side hustle or business, man, because if you're making $10,000 per month, that is a little bit more than just a side hustle. So do you want to tell everybody, if they never seen the videos we have made together, who you are, where you're from, and what exactly do you actually do?
Okay, thanks for having me on, Felix. My name is Jeff Torres. I live in Tampa, and I work as a courier or a medical courier. And so if you don't know what a courier is, basically, I'll describe it in a nutshell. You're essentially a taxi driver for boxes. So you're picking boxes up at point A, and then you're delivering them at point B. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Basically, I have an app on my phone, and I work for a local courier company in my area in Tampa. They'll send me work orders. I'll text them and let them know when I'm available for work. They'll send me work orders. I'll pick up a box and then deliver it. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
And then just to clarify, because I know a lot of people comment on our previous videos, when you say app, this isn't like an app like Instagram or Facebook that you download off the App Store that anybody. It's a particular or specific app that the company you work for basically uses to communicate with you for routes. Is that correct?
Yeah. Once you apply for a local courier company in your area and you get hired on, they'll give you all the training. They'll give you the app. If you need to wear a uniform shirt, they'll give all that stuff to be provided for you after you get hired on. But you have to go and apply to work for a local courier company in your area. So it's different. So like the courier company that I work for in Tampa, there's going to be a total different company than one that you could work for up in New Jersey where you're at.
Okay, now, how long have you actually been doing this? And can you tell everybody, what your first courier job was like? Because I see a lot of comments where people say, hey, I see Jeff is making $10,000 per month or, 2 to 3K per week, and they just can't seem to find work like that. People will leave comments where they say, hey, there's no work available, which is hard to believe because I know that this industry with driving and things needing to be delivered is something that's highly in demand. So, can you tell everybody like what your first gig was? Because I remember when we were last talking, you said that, it's good to do, maybe find which courier company works best for you because it gives you experience for the next company you might work good with. But can you go into that, like what your first experience was like, and then a little bit about what can you say to people who say they can't find any work?
Man, I've probably been working as a courier for at least 3 or 4 years, so it just takes time for you to get good at your job. And I probably have worked for 4 or 5 different courier companies before I found the one that I work at now. The way that it's set up is every delivery that I get completed, I get paid 60% of the delivery, and then the courier company gets 40%. So it just depends on what works best for you. There's courier jobs that pay you per mile. There's some that pay you per hour. There's some that pay you a flat rate to cover a route. But the way that mine's structured and set up, I only get paid on commission. So if I don't work that week, I don't get paid. But yeah, every delivery that I do, I get a 60% split cut of the pay, and then the courier company gets 40%. That's pretty much the way that it's structured. But yeah, you just have to get your experience, get your feet wet, and find out what works for you and what doesn't. I like my gig because I don't have a set route. I can kind of be my own boss and make up my own schedule and do my own hours. This last week, for example, I only worked 4 days and still made $2,100 in 4 days. And the other 3 days I had off to go do whatever I want to go do. So you don't have to be a workaholic. You don't have to work 10, 12-hour days, 7 days a week. If you just want to log in and work 4, 5, 6 hours that day, you can log in. I've showed you before. You can log in and work 5 hours, make $500, and have the rest of the day free to do whatever you want to go do.
Cool. Now, I don't think this is actually a question I've asked you before in our previous videos, but can you give like one pro to being a courier and then one con? Like, because I think a lot of people on the internet, when it comes to side hustles, they try to glorify it, that it's beautiful, it's amazing, there's no downsides. One downside and one upside. Can you give some examples?
Best thing about being a courier is that I get to be my own boss and make up my own schedule, and I'm in my own car, and I don't have a supervisor breathing down my neck telling me what to do all the time. So that's probably the number one best thing about being a courier, and I get paid very well. The bad thing about being a courier is sometimes there'll be a wreck on the road or the highway. There'll be a lot of traffic. You could be sitting in traffic for hours. There's nothing you could do if there's like an overturned semi in front of you or something. And the worst thing is that you cover your own expenses. So, you're as a 1099 independent contractor, you're paying for repairs and maintenance on your vehicles, toll booths, fuel costs, all that stuff. But it adds up. But you have to figure, is it worth it to you? So say, for example, if I worked 4 days that week and I made $2,100 for the week, and I get people that comment and message me and say, Jeff, what about gas? And I'm like, well, worst case scenario, let's say you spent $40 a day in gas, okay? And then times 4 days a week. So you spent $160 in gas, hypothetically, but you made $2,100. Like, you're still making $2,000 a week after all your expenses. So it's a give and take with any job.
Got you. That makes sense. People try to make it seem like that, everything is all profit. So obviously you might be making $2,100 per week. And the next question I want to go into, is obviously you're making 2 to 3K per week. What are the expenses? So people do realize, as you are basically working for yourself, yes, you might make 2 to 3K per week, but there's expenses on a week where you make, say, just say $2,000. What do you think your expenses are, and then what do you actually, once you deduct your expenses, what is your take home?
Well, I can show you my paycheck stub here. I just brought one here for the month of January to give you guys an illustration. So you can see, for an example, I'll try to pull it up so you can see it on the camera. So this week, for example, my net take home, I don't know if you can see it, was $21.92.
Move it up a little bit. Move it a little bit up on the camera. Okay, there. Okay.
This week here was $23.81. This week here was $21.74, and this week was $33.89. But you can see on average, I'm making like around $2,200 a week. But so this, for example, in January, I made $10,000 for the month of January, right? Mm-hmm. But as a result of that, I had expenses. I had to spend $50 for an oil change. I spent $50 to replace a tire. The metal tread, the metal belt was coming through, so I spent $50 on a tire. I spent $50 for an oil change. My car insurance was like $200 a month.
And what kind of car do you have to tell everybody? Do you have a fancy car? What kind of car is it?
It's I drive a 2012 Jeep Compass. It's just a regular car. It's a little 4-door, 4-cylinder car to get you from point A to point B. But yeah, then like I said, I had to pay for my oil changes. I had to pay for a tire. I had to pay my car insurance, and then the rest of it's just money you spend for gas and food. So depending on how much money you spend on gas and food, that's your other expenses.
How much do you think you spend on gas?
I would say somewhere between maybe $150, $200 a week. I mean, it just depends on how much you work. Depends on how much you drive. I mean, that makes sense because gas prices fluctuate, and then the kind of vehicle you drive, each vehicle is going to get different miles per gallon. But I would say somewhere between $150, $200 a week. But even if I just showed you my paycheck stub, if you made $10,000, Felix, for the month, even if you subtracted your $200 for car insurance, another $100 for oil change and tires, that's $300. And let's just say hypothetically it was $200 a week in fuel costs, right? So let's just say that's what it was. So you're making, let's say, $800 plus the car insurance. So let's say your monthly expenses was $1,100 for the month. Let's just say hypothetically, you still netted $10,000. You're still making over $100,000 a year, being your own boss and making up your own work schedule, and you get to drive your own car. So I don't think there's too many gigs out there that's better than this, because if you're somebody and you just want to do it part time and you just want to work 3-4 days a week, you can do that. Mm-hmm. If you want to work 6-7 days a week, you can do that. But it's all, I only get paid on commission. So if you text me or email me and say, Jeff, I'm not making $10,000 a month, I'm going to say, bro, just remember, it's all based on commission. Just like me and you could both be a real estate agent and you could make 6 figures a year and I could make 0, because we both only get paid on commission. So that's pretty much the way that it's set up.
And do you have any special insurance? Like, does the company you work for require any certain insurance, or they don't care about that?
The company that I work with, I just have regular liability insurance. But depending on what courier company you sign with, their insurance may be different. It just depends on who you sign with and what works best for you.
So basically, okay, that makes sense. So basically, you're basically just out there just being a delivery guy for boxes, and you're willing to outwork people. I remember when I was down in Tampa, I asked if you wanted to link up one night, and you were like, "No, man, I'm going out, and I got some deliveries to do." So I think it's all about who's hungrier and who's willing to do what the other person isn't willing to do. Would you say that's fair enough to agree with?
Yeah, man. I make probably 95% of my money on my checks working nights and weekends and holidays. When nobody else wants to work, they call me, and then all of a sudden, all these work assignments get called in, and they need somebody to cover them, so they all get kind of funneled to me. But yeah, in a sense, that's part of it. But then in the other sense, I don't want to tell you you have to work 6, 7 days a week, because that's not the truth. Some days I only work 4 days a week and still make $2,100 in 4 days, and I don't work 10, 12-hour days during those 4 days. Some days I only may work 4, 5, 6 hours a day for that day. So it just depends on how much work you do. Like I said, you're only going to get paid on commission.
And then as far as how you actually found this company, obviously, just for privacy reasons, we can't give out the company that you actually work for in particular. But how did you find this company? Didn't you just go on Craigslist like we showed in one of our other videos and just cold called and said, "Hey, I'm a driver. My name's Jeff. I'm located here, and I want to do this." Can you tell everybody about how you kind of went about, finding this particular company to work for?
Yeah, man. I was before I got this gig, I was working as a pizza delivery driver for Domino's, and I was making decent money delivering pizza. But it was one of those things where you're not in control of your schedule. So I went online because I live in Tampa and just typed in Tampa Craigslist, and then went to the job section and typed in the word courier, and then there was a whole list of probably 20, 30 companies that you can apply for. And I just went down the list and started applying for companies. This particular one called me back up, and we went from there. And like I said, I probably ended up working for 4 or 5 different courier companies till I found the one that was the best fit for me. But yeah, I mean, you could do that. You could go on Google and search courier companies. You can also go and check Indeed or Career Builder. Just type in courier or medical courier, and like I said, you'll probably see 20 or 30 different companies pop up.
Understood. And then for someone who maybe doesn't want to do this full time like you do, and isn't worried about making 8, 9, 10, if not more per month, and they just want to make maybe an extra 2 to 3K per month to supplement their income, maybe on the weekends when they're not working their full-time job, or maybe for a few hours after they do work their full-time job. How many hours a week do you think, or how many days a week do you think they have to commit to be able to make, say, an extra $2,500 a month?
Well, like I said, each courier company is different, but if you just want to do it as a part-time gig, I mean, I think you can easily go and work Friday, Saturday, Sundays and make $500-600 easy. I mean, I showed you my paycheck stub where you're making 10 grand in a month, and and so that's what I'm saying. If you just wanted to do it as a side gig or a side hustle, instead of doing Lyft or Uber or one of these apps, you can just work for the courier company, and you're not dealing with drunk passengers in your car. It's just a box in the back seat, and you're just picking the box up from point A to point B. But so yeah, I would let you guys know that, like I said, I make most of my money working nights and weekends and holidays, but also it's long distance deliveries. So I'm in Tampa, and I may drive from Tampa to Orlando and pick up a box in Orlando, coming back to Tampa, and make $100 for that delivery. But I had to drive all the way to Orlando to go get it. Does that make sense? Yes. Instead of just doing little local runs that's 10, 15, 20 minutes down the road.
Understood. Well, thanks again, Jeff. I think this information that you're sharing with my audience is, really eye-opening for people to realize that, if they have a car, if they have a phone, if they have work ethic, and they're not afraid to, outwork other people, then they could either make, a little part-time income, or they can make a full-time income, all depending on how much work they actually want to go out there and do. Again, thank you for joining me on this channel. Did you have any other final thoughts you wanted to share with the people who might be interested in doing this?
Yeah, the cool thing about this job is you don't need a college degree. You don't need a special license and certification. You don't need 10 years experience. Like Felix said, as long as you have a car, you have a driver's license, and you have a cell phone, this could be a job for you. And I can't guarantee you that you're going to have the same results as me because I don't know, I don't know what company you're willing to work for. But look, this is like, what do they say? Actions speak louder than words. This is just for 1 month paycheck stubs, and I made 10 grand this month. So I don't know where else you can go right now with a high school diploma and have a cell phone, a car and a driver's license and walk in the door making anywhere between 8 to 10 grand a month. I don't know where you can do that at right now,
Yeah, no,
So,
I mean, it's just not going to happen. I mean, this is like, basically a goal, like a diamond in the rough that people are able to make this kind of money simply just by driving. Because, in the end, driving, especially with everything that's going on in this world and the pandemic, this is, a industry that's more in demand, in my opinion, than ever before. Would you agree as well?
yeah, and like I said, it's all dependent on how much you work. Just remember the way that it's set up is based on commission. So if you're willing to go out and hustle and work, you can do that. If you're like, man, I can't work 6-7 days a week, I have kids or I have another job or I have other obligations, they're flexible and being able to work around your schedule. So that's what I'm telling you. The best thing about this job is having a flexible schedule and being your own boss and making up your own work schedule. So if, like, a lot of times they may hit me up at midnight, I might leave the house at midnight and come back at 5-6 o'clock in the morning before the rush hour traffic hits and make $300-$500 a month. And I just wanted to say one more thing. Don't get discouraged, guys. If you put it in your calculator and you put $10,000 in a month and you divide it by 30 days, that's only $333 a day. Yeah. So just focus in your brain. Think, okay, I listened to what Jeff said. Don't look at it as a big mountain. Look at it as, man, if I just make $300 a day times 7 days, I'll hit my goal of $2,100 for the week. And you can make $100 grand a year. It's all really up to you.
And didn't you say, and we'll end the video on this just to give people some motivation, because we were supposed to make this video a few weeks back, didn't you tell me that like one day you made like $800 or $900 from this?
Yeah, I had one day where I made $800, and it was on a weekend. I think it was on a Friday night or Saturday night, and I did my deliveries at night. I think I was done by noon, made $800, and I had the rest of the day free. I'm telling you the truth, guys. If you just get out here and hustle and you build up relationships with people and you're willing to work, you can do that. I mean, I'm showing you this stuff, and I show you a paycheck stub for $2,100 in 4 days worth of work. Like, you do the math. Let's say $2,000 divided by 4 days. That's $500 a day. And then you had the other 3 days off to do what you want to do. Go out to dinner, go out to the movies, spend time with your family. You don't have to work, 10, 12-hour days, 7 days a week. It's all up to you. You have a flexible schedule. But I would just say go out there and give it a shot and try it out and see if it's for you. I mean, driving's not for everybody, but think about it. If you're working a job somewhere and you're working at Walgreens, you're working at a gas station somewhere and they're paying you $10, $12, $15 an hour, you ain't never going to make 10 grand a month. Never. You could go there and work as much overtime as you want. They're never going to give you that opportunity. Yeah. So, just go there and try it out and see if it's for you. And I just wanted to mention that if you need help, me and Felix do have a book down below. I think it's $38. If you don't know anything about the courier business and you just want to get some knowledge and learn what it's all about, we have a book that we wrote for $38. You can check into that as well.
Cool. Well, thank you, Jeff, for joining me on the channel. Thank you for sharing this information with my audience. Again, check out the book we have down in the description below. Also, check out the playlist we have on this topic. We've made probably close to a dozen videos now since Jeff and I have known each other. Again, thank you, Jeff, for joining me on the channel. Also, check out Jeff. He has his own channel. Can you tell everybody where they can find you on YouTube?
Yeah, I had a YouTube channel. It was called eBay Addicts. I changed the name. So if you just type in my name, Jeff Doris, you'll find me there. And I usually try to drop 3 videos a week. And we talk about similar things, entrepreneurship, how to make money as a courier. If you want to make money selling stuff on eBay, we just shot a video last week talking about how to make money working as an Amazon Flex driver. So if that's something you're interested in, stop by and check it out. And I appreciate you having me on the channel, Felix. I appreciate it, man.
Cool. Thanks, Jeff. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
All right. Bye, guys.